Podcast hosted by myself, Stuart Brisgell, David Solomon, where we bring you unfiltered, uncensored conversation on literally a wide range of topics. This podcast is dedicated to giving you a platform to express your opinions, our opinions, right? Share your thoughts and experiences and ideas here from a variety of honest perspectives. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, and so much more. From rants of the absurdity of modern life, like Fauci, or to discussing the deeper issues affecting our society. The Rant Network's got you covered. Sit back, relax, because David and I are about to unleash a whole new rant. Monday, guys, noon Eastern. All right, David. I'm taking a dramatic pause, but it's actually intentional. We have now gone through an entire weekend where the biggest news is the old cycle, and the biggest news isn't making the news. The murders in Sudan, vacating another embassy, FRC, First Republic, being bailed out with $30 billion and sold off at auction to the largest banking system, Jamie Dimon, in the world. The markets are all over the place. China is trying to create more dominance with BRIC, which is, right, Brazil, Russia, India, China. The currency is at war. The Fed is probably, my estimate, going to do another raise. But in the news this weekend, the biggest stories are, drum roll, please. David, that's your cue.
Well, the sad part is nothing new, nothing exciting. And I'll tell you, Stuart, what you just said was really interesting because you repeated what we've been talking about. The news cycle continues to spin its ugly head on the same bloody stories. How can we screw Trump? Joe Biden's re-election candidacy, whatever you want to call it. All kinds of other malarkey. But at the end of the day, what's happening here? Nothing. Here's the issue. The media has lost its way. A week ago today, we heard about the great dismissals of Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon. It created the sensation. It put the media on a tilt. We didn't comment about it because basically what we were saying was, what's new? And, a lot of other bloggers from the left to the right, from Whoopi to Megyn Kelly to whatever, they went nuts over this. How dare they fire Don Lemon? Thank God the Wicked Witch is dead with Tucker Carlson. Blah, blah, blah. And that just consumed the news cycle. You know what that proved to me? The news is completely messed up. And I'll tell you my philosophy, and this is why I'm having such a hard time with the media. The world, we have over 200 countries in the world. But if you watch American news, or even if you watch some Canadian news, you couldn't tell there were other countries. Maybe England and France and Australia and Japan. There is a Russia and a China, you're right. But we know nothing about India. We know nothing about Brazil. We don't know what's going on in Africa. The Middle East is a bunch of lies. You have civil wars all over the place. You have, all kinds of fiction and fake news. And what does the media do? What's the most sensational thing we can cover so that we can get ratings? CNN loved plane crashes. Remember, every time there was a plane crash, CNN would be on top of it, like night, day, you name it. But talk about anything else other than no. And you know what? Frankly, to listen to even on the weekend, I did the Sunday run through of all the news channels and they're thinking about, and what did we talk about? 2024 election. Like, that's the only thing we could freaking talk about. We're not even done 2023. Let's talk about November 2024, which is a year and a half away. No, instead, what we're going to do is we're going to create unnecessary nerves, anxiety, frustration, and we're going to talk about, and we're going to pretend and whatever. I got to tell you, people spend, it's we're in playoffs in sports here, in hockey and in basketball, right? And people are like, so who do you predict is going to win in 7 games or 5 games or 6 games, and who, and then and that's exciting, that's fun. We just did the same thing in politics, but that's in a year and a half from now. So who's going to win the election a year and a half from now? You think Biden's going to
Well,
win? Do you think?
well, hang on, David. According to Bernie Sanders, the Vermont communist, it's bunker Biden's going to win by a landslide.
And guess
Come on.
what? And guess what? And guess what? As usual, the media gave him the platform. A hypocrite, a staunch communist, a guy who's lied to the people for years, and yet let's give the guy the platform. And this is the problem. Where are we today with any real news? Sudan is blowing up. And when that blows over, and once the Americans leave and the Canadians leave and whatever, it'll fall into another news. It won't even fall in the news cycle, just like Afghanistan. You think that the moment the Americans left Afghanistan, nothing's happened in Afghanistan?
They don't talk about the hunting squads that are murdering anyone that helped the U.S. or the West is being hunted down like you see in the movies. Right? It doesn't matter if it was the Vietnam War, whether it's a Korean War, whether it's a make-believe movie where the terrorists are hunting down these goodniks. They're hunting them down. They're murdering. They're burying their bodies in the middle of the desert or hanging them in public squares. This is what happens when you help the West. But this is going to make a Spielberg movie. Because you know what? Even Hollywood writers are about to go on strike. There's Hollywood writers, everybody, their feelings are hurt. Spielberg has officially said that the recall movement needs to stop. Hang on, Spielberg. Does that mean we're canceling Spielberg now? I mean,
this is worth reporting. This is worth reporting. I guess
one more thing. There's a shirt that's running around in a high school. There is.
No, don't even go there. No, but
that's the biggest thing in the news.
You're right. The problem is, and you're right. If you're listening to any of the Fox News and whatever, the only thing that matters is transgender and gender selection and whatever. If you look at on the left, I mean, there's fact of the matter is that there's so many problems that we're dealing with locally, internationally, that if we're going to fight the gender battle, and I'm not denying that it shouldn't be argued, but it takes over a news cycle. It takes over every conversations, and it's like, for God's sake, inflation is through the roof. People still can't put food on the table. Gas is too expensive. But let's go talk about fringe issues. Not that it shouldn't be spoken about, but is this the number one topic? And you know what? The sad part is that the media, just like they went with Roe v. Wade, they take certain whatever they think is the most noisiest thing that they can put out there, not the most important, the noisiest thing that they could put out there to put as part of the news cycle. And instead, you and I, people are believing, oh my God, that has to be the most critical point of the day. It's not. And when you put out an AOC and you interview an AOC and you get, again, and when you give and we do it with The View, Bill Maher, I didn't know that The View are a bunch of journalists. I didn't know that they have any form of credibility. But, oh my God, they consume the news cycle. It's ridiculous. I think that the media has completely lost its ways. And, and Stuart, one last point. The liberal media, just as an example, vilified Tucker Carlson. He was a conspiracy theorist. He hated the LGBT. A racist.
He was a Nazi.
He was a Nazi. He hated the LGBTQ community. Blah, 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 blah. Now he's a victim. You hear this? Now Fox News, because of the way they treated him, he is now a victim. I mean, do you actually hear the hypocrisy? And do you ever wonder why people are cutting the cord and saying, I don't want to listen to this crap anymore?
Yeah, David, part of the beauty of technology is that information travels at the speed of light, sometimes faster, depending on your broadband and where you live. But, Whoopi Goldberg's na 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 goodbye for about Tucker Carlson got more minutes on the news than the murders going on in Sudan. And you know what? Shame on Whoopi Goldberg. You want to know why? The population of Sudan is primarily what? As Africa, African American. She cares more about villainizing someone who
But
she
that's
doesn't even
but
really know
but no,
to
actually,
people that she has more connection with than anything else of all.
but
But
Stuart,
let's forget about it. She
but
can't get ratings and can't get paid for talking about Sudan because it doesn't fit the DNC narrative of vacating yet another post in the
but Stuart,
world.
it's perfect. But she's smart. She's smart. She's playing the cards perfectly. Think about it. I mean, I don't agree with her. I think she's completely off her rocker and shouldn't be on television. But she's smart. She's playing the media. She knows exactly what's going to get her a soundbite. She knows exactly what's going to get her views. She knows exactly what she needs to say and how she needs to say it. You're right. If she says something about Sudan, you're right. It doesn't do anything. Okay. She only cares about, where can I mean, if today's the issue is trans, she's going after trans. If tomorrow's the issue is something else, she goes after something else. She's smart, and the rest of them are all smart like that. But because the media has nothing better to do than to report this crap, we as bloggers, we mock it. We mock them. The media treats them as credible sources.
Yeah, but
Come
we're
on.
censored. But we're censored. Remember, we're censored. Fauci can walk back. Do we get an apology from Facebook, by the way, David?
No.
Did we get an apology
No.
from
No,
YouTube?
no, no. Nobody, no, 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 no. We just got censored. But again, think about it, right? Which media got censored? Right? The media controlled the narrative. What the media is doing, and I said this weekend, there's a complicity with politicians and other community leaders for just monothought, one sense of thought. And it's control. And if you look at it, I don't care if it's the right or the left. I mean, if I watch MSNBC and that's all I ever do, I'll end up like your cousin, like because the media has zero credibility anymore. This is not the Bernstein, of the Washington Post of the 1970s. This is not real journalism. This is about sensationalism. This is about ratings. This is about a Pulitzer Prize. This is about getting views and clicks. Okay, it has nothing to do with giving you the news in an accurate manner, because if that would be true, there would be nothing to do with the Russian collusion. Donald Trump's trials would disappear because they would say there's no story here. But they did. And thanks to the media and their lack of credibility, this is it. This is what's happening. Any wonder why people walking away from cable news? I mean, cable news is dropping in viewership because people are sick and tired of the opinions, not the facts.
David, on that note, I really don't think there's much more other than massive disappointment. And you know what, David? To bring this broadcast today to an end. And again, guys, a lot of great things going on here, David. Any last seconds before I read that exit?
Listen, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, your finger matters on the remote control or on your computer. Send the message to the media. We're sick and tired. We're not tolerating anymore the opinionated bullshit. We want fact, and we need more than just the same old three stories. Come on, there's way more in the world.
On that note, that's all for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and listening in to the Rant Network. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. I know I did. I got to talk to my friend David, gained some valuable insight. Well, the insight is there is no insight. Oxymoron. We appreciate your support and hope you'll join us next time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, for another thought-provoking conversation. Maybe something will happen in the world that the media will report on that we'll get to make fun of or tell you the facts. In the meantime, don't forget to follow us on social media. Guys, we need the likes, we need the shares, we need the forwards. Come on, guys. We love your thoughts. Remember us, we're always interested in hearing from our viewers, our listeners, on wherever you get your verticals. PM us. send us online. We're here. Keep on listening. Thank you. And for next time, keep on ranting. David, I think it's